Um, I'm not playing devil's advocate here, but this might be a chance to kind of help you or give you a chance to maybe talk to some of the players that aren't as open to having women in the space, because unfortunately, those people do exist. And let me try framing it this way. I remember seeing a study, I think it was back in 2015, that highlighted that in terms of like a correlation for um, harassment tendencies, players in an upper skill level, I think they did Call of Duty, players at the top skill level were more likely to be welcoming
Oh
to
yeah.
women players in the scene, but players of lower skill levels were much more aggressive and much more antagonistic toward women in the scene and women's existence in the scene. It didn't really matter what their skill levels were. They were just going to be harassed by those lower level players no matter what. um how do we convince the the lower level male player that has these like feelings of resentment that this is a positive direction and might be something that's um something that they can benefit from, not just think of it as a zero sum game where they're losing out on the ability to play and have their own space, I guess.
It's coming from Melee. It's like, oh my God, you're a human who's interested in the scene. Like, please, like, so for me, there's inherent value in just having the scene be bigger. So it's weird to me that anyone would like not want that. Uh, what can they do to the thing you said about higher level players and lower level players? I've seen true in my own ethnographic work when I started trying to go to ultimate tournaments. Like the upper level players were definitely way more respectful and gave way better advice than the lower level players, who it was almost like they were so low level that they couldn't tell that I had like fundamentals from Smash but just didn't play ultimate or whatever, if that makes sense.
Oh
But
yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I've seen that way too often, man.
Uh-huh.
so it's like, also, why not? Like, it doesn't have to be about just winning, but Smash and fighting games become more about winning even than other esports because they're one-on-one. Part of this
Yeah.
is to push more crew battles and push more doubles, basically. Treat those as legitimate events. Like, that's what Smash Sisters even is. For a large part of it is like a crew battle, right? Because that inherently builds even more like solidarity. Like, you're fighting
Yeah.
for someone else, which is
Sharing
not
from
usually the case in Smash,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if the
Pushing doubles.
forces of creating a one-on-one tournament is particularly atomizing, and it's harder to relate to your fellow players if you're only in it for yourself. I wonder if there's some sort of a political analysis that might look at it that way. I wonder if there are podcasts that were out there to talk about these kinds of issues, huh?
Oh
Keep
well.
plugging us. What an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of solidarity, one of the things that was in your study that I found very interesting, and I think this might be one of the sources of the problems, because I think you were talking to some of the club leaders, and they gave you this answer of they were trying to they're kind of reluctant to directly acknowledge some of the language of inclusiveness and how they answered questions, or even like directly in their code of conducts, because they're trying to stay out of the politics. And it seems to be a situation where the burden of these politics are falling on these minority demographics. You know, how deeply, or how big of an issue was this that from you saw based off your study? And I guess more importantly, what kind of efforts can we make to convince people that this is not a matter of politics? It's a matter of not just from a selfish standpoint, the health of the scene, but from a legitimate standpoint, in my opinion, a matter of humanity.
The reason I was smiling in the middle of that question was because this is the one that in the question, the way it was worded before, it was like, is this a problem?
Yeah.
That it's being politicized, the idea of inclusivity. And my
Right.
answer for this one was just absolutely. Like, I don't have much to add. Yes, it's absolutely a problem. I think it is ultimately a political issue, but political doesn't mean like pointless or not real or anything. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely like a political issue though, but like that is as well that people because people defer to politics as like, oh, we don't, that's its separate sphere or something, and it's like
Yeah, it's like a,
separate.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Politics
but it's
themselves are
not.
politicized.
yeah, like it's like, wait, no, you know, it's just politics, dude. It's not like politics are about, you know, human life or anything.
Mhm.
Like it's not for us in society. So you know, it's just that thing over there.
Right. No, if you think about it, like what we've connected in this topic, we've talked about how, funding for schools is, inherent to the health of this esports scene, which is a political issue, if you think about it. But is it really if it's what keeps your scene alive at that point? And then just the inclusionary aspects and how to create a safe and welcoming space for individuals is is that a political issue? Doesn't seem like it, but it might be. And then creating systems where we have more co-ed participation, or instead of being so individualized, there's a team efforts. Is that political? You start blending the line. You start seeing where these things stop being absolutely political, and they start actually being just kind of fundamental to how we interact with each other. So sometimes I get a little frustrated on my end. This is just me kind of on my soapbox, where people are so averse to being into the politics of it. They try to feel like that they want to stay above the fray, and ultimately what they end up doing is either alienating groups that need help, or alternatively just disempowering themselves if they're on the other end of the equation.
Yeah,
But more importantly, I think the big takeaway is that we shouldn't have to leave it to these, the less powerful in the community to advocate ourselves. We have to kind of be proactive about it and make sure that we make us, part of trying to make a space that is welcome and not using the limited social capital that we have to destroy each other. Part of that is to actively promote building each other up, and a lot of that is looking out for each other, even if that person is not your same gender, or not your same race, or not your same skill level even. Ultimately the bonds that we form can only become bonds if we're willing to put some effort and investment into it. I guess that's why social capital, right? You gotta invest into it before you can take some payment and dividends off of it too. So I think we're coming up on time. So Bryce, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything that you wanted to add before, in closing thoughts on your study that you think people need to know that we weren't able to hit?
Really, I guess like I think it's kind of like us taking and studying some stuff that we all kind of know, people who are in the community already, I feel like, and legitimizing it in academia is kind of what I felt like we were doing. Thank you so much for having me on here. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, man. I think that at the end of the day, it's always great when you can make things more definitive and less nebulous, because you can knock away kind of the naysayers who aren't really operating on any facts. It's just like, well, you just kind of think that, right? So, as always, like the research and the kind of studies that you've been able to do, like, thank you so much for doing that, because I know on my end too, like. Dude, that's when like Lex told me, I'm like, dude, that's lit. That's great, man. Like, let me know if I can walk in a boardroom meeting, and if anyone has any questions, boom, hold this, right? Like that allows justifications for people to actually get some stuff done and like move forward in that way, So I think that's just phenomenal what you've been able to do. So thank you for being on here and also discussing with us all these things.
Thank you.
I second that. Just from a not that I would ever advocate dunking on people in terms of the battle of ideas, but it's very helpful now that if I need to have a academic, study to really demonstrate my point of view, I can pull the that fun card up. Oh, I have an academic study that backs up my opinion on this matter. Do you have an academic study that backs up your opinion on this matter? And if you don't, are you sure you don't really want to sit there and maybe question your opinion on this matter, kind of a situation? Not that I would ever do that with anybody. We got to be kind to each other. So that's, yeah, man.
We got to be kind, man. 2-0 and a handshake, baby.
Right. We'll see everybody in grand finals for sure. But
for sure.
Cosmos, you got anything?
No, I think you guys summed it up perfectly.
All right.
All right.
So I guess, I'll just hit the normal disconnect like Discord, I guess. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
for sure.
ruin it
Thank
for
you so
everyone.
much for joining us, Bryce. We
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts. Everybody, make sure to follow him on Twitter. He's got a lot of knowledge, and I guess we should plug that you're going to be in a conference coming up pretty soon, right?
So I think it's October 10th. It's called Eyes Open. It's all about inclusivity and safety in Smash. Pretty sure it's free. A little bit
Nice.
careful in avoiding trolls, basically, because it's free. There's definitely a private Discord, but reach out to me or like someone. Basically, reach out to the conference directly on Twitter. It's just Eyes Open Conf, I think.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, at some point, we'll have built up our own troll army that can counteract the bad trolls. Because I'm fully of the opinion that not all trolls are evil, but we gotta cultivate and steward the good ones in the community, right? So, but that being said, thank you so much, Bryce. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Well, I've been breathing fire.